schools, the creation of privatized schools. Have we ever demonstrated that charter and voucher schools do a better job of teaching students? Are they better at getting kids to meet arbitrary benchmarks without giving them the same resources as the well-resourced schools where kids score better? No, absolutely not. There is not a shred of evidence behind that. Yet a majority of our lawmakers, both Republicans and Democrats, support it. Why do you think that is? The creation of yet another market that allows private business to swoop in and swipe one of the largest single pools of taxpayer money in the country. And what's more, those greenbacks get sucked up into a feedback loop to bribe our lawmakers so they can come back for another taste. It's a vicious circle. Privatize, bribe, and none of it revolves around the students. Meanwhile, those poor children who now have to go to a charter or voucher school, have to go to institutions that no longer are required to accept them. They can be denied enrollment for any reason: race, gender, religion, behavior, difficulty to teach. The choice is all for the charter and voucher operators, not the parents or students. They have to put up with going to a school that is no longer democratically controlled. No more publicly elected school board, no more public meetings, no more school documents being a matter of public record. They spend our money behind closed doors, and we're not allowed to question or even observe what they're doing. The goal is to make money, not educate children. When they can cut services, they do so is to maximize profits. So our children, who have already been slammed with inequitable funding, get an even reduced set of services so the business people can take their cut. And which group of children is more affected by this? Hint, it's not the white kids. It's not the rich kids. It's hardly even the middle class kids. It's the poor and students of color. That is Betsy DeVos's America. That is Bill Gates' America. That is the system championed by plutocrats on the left and right. And it is the reason I wrote this book. So let me close with this. Gadfly on the wall. What does that mean? I must have thought it was kind of important because it's the moniker I go by for my blog and my book. What's a gadfly? It comes from Socrates, an ancient Greek philosopher and one of my personal heroes. Socrates was this guy who walked around ancient Athens and asked people questions. He'd stop you in the street and ask you what you were doing. Then he'd ask you why you were going to do that. He'd ask about your justifications, your reasons, your unexamined assumptions, your values. He'd ask so many questions that people got very angry. Eventually, they threw Socrates in jail and put him on trial for corrupting the youth, something teachers get hit with all the time. You taught my child about evolution, you're corrupting the youth. You taught my boy ideas that aren't found in the Bible, you're corrupting the youth, that sort of thing. Well, good old Socrates was allegedly corrupting the youth when he asked them to question themselves. And in a rare moment of irony, they asked him why. Why did he do it? He said he imagined himself as a gadfly perched on the butt of the horse of society. The horse was galloping toward a cliff, and no one seemed to notice. If someone didn't do something fast, the horse would fall off the cliff and plummet to its death. So Socrates said his job was to sting and buzz the horse until it changed course. That's the sense in which I'm a gadfly. I am perched on society's butt, stinging and buzzing, trying to get it to do an about face. And on the wall? Well, you've heard the phrase, I'd like to be a fly on the wall. We don't say that about everywhere. We only say it about places we don't normally get access to. Some place you can't go alone, but you really wish you could. I'd like to see how those elves really make those Keebler cookies. I'd like to see how Ben and Jerry really make such delicious ice cream. That kind of thing. Well, that's me too. And I do have access to a place usually hidden from public view, your public schools. Junior may come home and tell you X, Y, and Z, but he's not as credible being a minor. And moreover, he doesn't know oftentimes the importance of what he sees. Whereas I'm an adult with a degree in what should be happening to help kids learn. I am in the prime position to learn to know whether we're meeting the needs of our students or not, and if not, why not? Yet so rarely do we ask our public school teachers to report on what they've seen. Isn't that telling? We make school policy without them. We just know what the right thing is without any empirical evidence. Non-empirical miracle. And when teachers try to speak up, we threaten them. We tell them to shut up, to go away. We threaten to take away their jobs, their union protections, their livelihoods, because we don't want opinionated, intelligent educators. We want good soldiers who will all march in line, do what they're told. Lemmings who will follow our directions right into the sea. Well, I'm not that kind of a teacher. I'm a gadfly on the wall. I invite you to read my book, follow my blog, and find out more. I invite you to let me sting and buzz in your ear. I invite you to let me get under your skin and goad you into action. Because we are headed for a terrible fall in this country. And those who will suffer the most are the children.